Well. Welcome, everybody. Let's see here. We should be going on and starting already and everything that we were going to talk about. Welcome to another episode of QuattroQuattroDos. I don't know what that intro was, but welcome once again to another episode. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. Hopefully, everything is going well for everybody. I'm just, trying to get, obviously, everything, getting everything kind of settled in. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. Hopefully, you guys are tuning in. Hopefully, you guys are coming into this Twitch thing that we're trying to get together. We had a couple things, or by we I mean me. I have a couple things planned up for today, and hopefully you guys can join me. Hopefully you guys can hear me well. This is being recorded, so eventually it's gonna make it into the YouTube page, which is right here in the corner, somewhere there, and you can go rewatch this or whatever, and you can always just subscribe to the Twitch when we go live. Then you'll be able to see all that. You'll be able to see everything. And I have if my boy Brian is watching, I don't know if he's gonna be able to watch this, but I've been playing around with like OBS and all the things that people have been trying to teach me, and I found a way to do this, to basically add a second camera. So there you go. You can see me from camera 1, which is this one, and right here in front of me, and then camera 2, which is up here. So obviously I've been playing around with them. I'm trying to learn new things as we go by, and so hopefully you guys enjoy it. I was able to hook up the microphone. Hopefully you guys can hear me well. In the recordings, it sounds pretty good. I know it can be loud, but I'll try to keep it as way as I can from my face. So hopefully you guys are tuning in, and hopefully you guys are enjoying this. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started to everything that I wanted to talk about. There's a couple things that I wanted to hit today. I think the news, were there. I think there was one game in particular that most people were probably looking forward to today, which was the expected Real Madrid PSG game, where this man, the legend, basically had a great game, 3 goals, hat trick, against a PSG that was stacked with players and and everything. So yeah, a PSG that was stacked with players, stacked with stars, stacked with a bunch of people that they should have been an easy win. So, but before we get talking to that, I don't know why I'm so nervous. I've never been nervous doing these things before, especially knowing that I'm by myself at home. Well, I'm not by myself, but So let me just get a sip of water, calm myself down, and then we'll get into this soccer talk. All right. So let's talk about PSG Real Madrid, just for a slight second, for a quick second. So PSG coming into this game with a 1-0 victory at the Paris Stadium. I forgot what it was called. Something Park of Prince, something like that, right? The Park of the Prince, whatever it's called. And then it was a 1-0 victory over there. I forgot who scored. Maybe I should have, been prepared a little bit better, but it is what it is. But yeah, 1-0 victory, and now they had to, go all the way to Madrid, where everything was going to be kind of be said and done at the end of that one. And I don't know why. So if you guys watched the game was a pretty good game. I think PSG had probably the upper hand in the beginning. They were attacking a lot more. They were going at it a lot more than everything. I think they thought they had it. And it's crazy to think that a PSG that if we look at some names that are on that team. You have Navas, you have Hakimi. This is the squad that was in the not in the lineup, but they give you a list of the players that are going to make it to the game basically. And if you go through the names, it's kind of crazy when you look at it. Navas, Hakimi, Kimpembe, Marquinhos, Verratti, Paredes, Mbappe, Icardi, Neymar, Di Maria, Danilo, Dagba. I mean, you can just keep going and going and going. And I mean, one of them is being Messi, which it's kind of insane, because not insane, but we all know what Messi basically stands for. Not stands for, but what he has done in the game of soccer and everything that he has basically meant to the sport, and just what what he's supposed to be doing, in matches like this. He's supposed to be the GOAT, the old time, great, and then when he comes to these matches, he's just not existent, which is very weird. A player of that stature, you expect him to do for him to do a little bit more. So it is what it is. I think. What do I think? I don't know. I think at the end of the day, Real Madrid wanted it more. Real Madrid wanted to move on to the next stage. Now, we have Liverpool, Bayern Munich. Who else is over there? Manchester City and Real Madrid, the first four that are going to be moving to the quarterfinals. And I think it's the Champions League. It only gets better as we go. The last two teams are usually the best two teams in Europe, and I mean, it's just, that's what it is, and that's, I think, that's why it's that's why it's the greatest cup, after the World Cup. That's why it's the greatest cup out there, and it's such a privilege to win it, play it, be around there, have your team, be there and stuff like that. So, but, and then also, but if you're gonna add everything else that happened, if you have this man right here, Benzema, who with this hat trick, that he scored, and if he's a true number 9, a true goleador, a true player that creates his own chances, a true a true man of the sport. I think he carries himself, his team, everything that he kind of stands for. Even when he's playing for France, you see him making difference. And right now he happens to be the number 3 goal scorer, or top 3 goal scorer in the history of Real Madrid. Number 1 being Cristiano Ronaldo with 450 goals. The great and legendary Raúl with 323, and right behind him is Benzema with 309. He's not that far off. He's about 14 goals off, and he could easily become that number 2. That number 3, is probably gonna. That number 1 is probably gonna take him, a few more years, and I don't know how. He doesn't seem too old. Honestly, I don't know how old he is, but I think he has a few more years in him. And I think at this rate, he probably won't surpass Cristiano Ronaldo, but I think he'll get really close to him. And it's also crazy to think that Cristiano Ronaldo scored 450 goals for Real Madrid. It's just insane. And also, just for reference, Di Stefano was, he played back in the day when literally they were wearing button downs for to play with. But shout out to Hakim Benzema. Becoming one of the. We already know who he is. We already know what he can do with in the soccer field, what he can do in the sport, what he can do for his country, what he can do for his club. So it's no surprise, but now he kind of reaches another level of greatness, not only in Real Madrid history, not only mainly in Real Madrid history, but I think being part of Real Madrid history, which is one of the biggest one of the biggest clubs in the world. I think it equates for him to being one of the greatest strikers in the world, period. So, and I think, I don't think I'm wrong when I say, he is one of the greatest, but if not the greatest striker in the world at the moment. You have Lewandowski, who could, be in that, same conversation, per se. But then again, they do play in a league that it's a little bit different than, I think the Spanish would be a little bit more competitive than the German league, but I don't watch both of them. enough to kind of equate them or put them on the same level or whatever it may be. But shout out to him, man. And I think he's gonna do great. He's already in the history books for his club and country, and we couldn't, it's just great. It's great to watch, comebacks like that, and hopefully I wish him the best, I guess. And I'm pretty sure the guys from the Peña Madrilista de Houston are probably super excited with the victory, from a 1-0, being literally being 1-0 down, and then being 2-0 down, and then coming back and winning that, that round 3-2, I think is a very spectacular way. And I think the fashion that they did it, with heart, love, just strength and honor, basically for their jersey. And I'm not even a Real Madrid fan. I'm not really I'm not even too fond of them, just cuz, but I think, I think it speaks greatly of them as a team, not only him, but Luka Modric, and I think all the guys that, that just, battled it out and were able to come out victorious. So shout out to them. So coming up on the second topic that I wanted to talk about, which I think, it was on the news everywhere because it was kind of hard to miss, especially if you're a soccer fan, especially if you live somewhere in North America. It was just tragedies, news, videos, pictures, stories, just everything that came out was just, crazy. And honestly, I didn't want to put any pictures. I didn't want to. The only picture that I was not even able to find, but that I was, that I wanted to put up was, this picture of one of the guys that plays in the Vote League, and not, not only to promote the Vote League or whatever it may be, but just to show you the trickle down effect that, something like that kind of had in the soccer community as a whole, man. It just kind of, I think it hit everybody in a different way. Honestly, when I was watching, I watched one video, and no, I'm lying. I watched a couple of videos, but one video was one of the worst ones that, I've watched. The first couple of videos that I watched were, just people running into the field, or just people just kind of trying to get away from everything. So it was heartbreaking. I think everybody saw the same picture of the guy with his family, his wife, these two kids kind of running from one side of the field to the other, of the stadium, just trying to get away, and it was just so sad, and just to see that, people have to do that in a stadium. And then, when I saw one of the terrible videos, one of the bad videos that I don't even know, if somebody sent it to me or I looked at it, but honestly, it was super sad. I physically, it was crazy because, I was there, I was watching the video, and I got physically. Messed it up there, my bad. But I was physically, literally physically sick. I couldn't, I just felt I couldn't breathe, man. It was, because you start thinking about everything that the sport is supposed to do, right? I don't know, let me just kind of play with the train of thought right here. Not one, whatever that, I don't know what I'm saying, but just the idea of hurting people to that manner, because I've been around fights. I've never been in a fight myself, fortunately enough, that I've never put myself in a position where I had to box anybody or I had to fight anybody, even in a soccer field. Soccer, it happens to be a sport, a contact sport, where here and there you might have your little shoves and pushes with some folks, and you might get into it, just a little shoving match or whatever it may be, talk a little shit here and there, but getting like going to the point where I'm like throwing punches at somebody. I've never been, in that position. I've never been in that position in my life, period. Like, for any reason whatsoever. Like, I always avoided, trouble, problems, just anything that, included violence just kind of makes me kind of weird, like I'll watch it, I'll watch like UFC fights, and I'll watch like whatever it may be, when I was younger, like you see these YouTube fights and stuff like that. And to be honest, like, you would watch them, and then like after like you see one guy beating another guy up, you're like, that's too much. Like I can't really watch this, because in your mind you still have that sense of like, not, I don't know what the word would be, but like, that sense of like respect for human life or humankind or whatever it may be. Like, if somebody's down, you stop, you usually, right? Usually when, I would think, if I was in a fight, unless, it doesn't even go to the thing, but yeah, like what happened to like the untold, can you really even talk about unspoken rules of fighting, if anything like that? Does that even exist? It's just like one of those things, like, like, I don't know. I'm trying to say something, but I don't want it to like come out as I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? Because, when you grew up, I'm Hispanic, obviously, right? And I think, it's a cultural thing that, if you gotta fight, you fight or whatever. And, there's like a culture of machismo, and there's a culture of like, who's tough, about being tough, about being Bentley, about being, the toughest and the baddest and whatever it may be, but I think that there's lines, like there's lines that were crossed, there's lines, and even so that's like speaking in a society level, right? Which I think is probably the main level that we should be speaking on, of being a human being, of being a member of society, of being a person that doesn't kill somebody because they're wearing the wrong jersey, or just doesn't kill somebody just because, they talk shit online, or because I heard that in one of the videos, like they were, hitting a guy, and you hear one of the guys say out loud, oh, well, you're not talking now, too much talking on social media, well, you ain't talking now, whatever. And I just couldn't like comprehend in my mind, like you're doing this because the guy, talk shit to you online, like that's really it. And it's crazy because, it's not that I've been around my whole life with like, barra bravas or ultras or, anything like that. Honestly, I don't consider myself any of those things, but, growing up and culturally, not idolizing those people, but in, in soccer culture, the barra brava and the ultra, like, it's not that you don't really idolize them, but you respect them because of what they do, not in a violent way, but like in the field type way, like, they're going to be chanting, they're going to be supporting the team, they're going to be, there for the team in a let's just say this, like in a spiritual level type thing, like they're gonna be there for their team, in the good times and the bad times. That love-hate relationship that you have with your club. If you grew up with the sport, here in the United States, it's completely different, and and I'm not gonna sit here and defend anything, but it's completely different, to how people feel, like sports somewhere else, and even as an Argentinian speaking, like. One of our Copa Libertadores games had to like literally be played in a different continent because, the safety of players and people were not 100% guaranteed, which is terrible, which is sad, which, yes, like in a movie, in a book level, it makes it mythological in a way, like we have to go all the way to Madrid to play this once in a lifetime final, whatever. But when you go to the root of the problem, it wasn't because of the mythical of it. It wasn't because of Boca was playing River was playing Boca, and it's one of the greatest sporting events in the whole continent of South America, and this is like one of the greatest things that will ever happen in history. It'll probably never happen ever again, or whatever it may be. And it was just like a crazy thing. But if you go into like the societal level, like in Argentina is very corrupt as a nation, is very corrupt as a society, and that's what led for that to happen. It wasn't because of the lovely amazing love of the sport, the amazing thing of the sport. It wasn't because of the sport, it was because of society. And we as Argentinians or soccer lovers or whatever, we romanticize those things because we grew up, at least me personally, I'll speak for myself, but we grew up romanticizing, Barra Brava. We grew up romanticizing, the colors and the chanting and the love and the fighting for your colors, and imposing respect for your colors, and being there for your colors. Like there's songs that say that I would die for these colors, and I would proudly like sing them, and I would and in my fairy tale mind I would want to believe that yes, I would die for my colors, because I'm such a fan and I'm such a diehard that I would let my life down, lay my life down for this, for the cause. It's kind of like being part of a country in a way, and I know like it's extremely disrespectful because you see what happens in the world. You see war, you see countries, you see people being displaced of their homes, and literally at the same moment that this is happening in Mexico and in Argentina and all over the world, and like literally at the same time that this is happening, literally people are being bombed in their houses because of territory, because of nation, because of ideals, because of whatever it may be, whatever they have in their head, and ideas or society constructs that they think they're better or they think they're worse, or whatever it may be, whatever it is what is happening over there too, which is extremely sad, for all those people that have to flee their homes, that their life will not be the same ever again, just everything. And then you turn around and these fucking idiots are beating people up for a fucking soccer game. You know what I mean? Like it's fucking insane, and I don't mean to like keep cursing, but like it blows your mind to think that people would get to the point of now in the beginning people were saying that about 17 to 20 people died, and honestly, to the videos that I saw, I would not be surprised if any people died. And then now whatever, they're saying that nobody really died, but they're probably scarred for life. There probably won't be the same ever again. But like when you get to the point of you take, or you literally are going to take somebody's life because of this, it just becomes idiotic. Like it becomes like there's literally something wrong with you, like literally, like there's a psychological thing in your mind that that is wrong. And I don't know if it's society, and and I don't know if we have to like break it down from like the root. And a lot of people have been saying breaking it down from the root is literally like taking off the team completely and getting rid of a team or getting rid of a league. And there's been a lot of talks of saying this, we should take the World Cup away from Mexico, so they can learn and make changes to their society or whatever it may be. And honestly, I don't know. I don't have the answer for that. I don't know if they should be taken away from them. I don't know. Honestly, I'm not going to sit here and say, yes, take it away from them, or no, don't take it away. I really don't know what a true punishment, in quotation marks, would be for the country, because at the end of the day, can you blame the country? It's funny because I'm saying, it's part of the society problem, and the society belongs to the country, right? That is in. So, I guess technically it does, belong to the country, and it is the country's fault. But then, I think it would be stupid to say a few idiots, because it was a bunch of fucking idiots. But, it was a group of people that probably do not represent the entire, country, or the entire, they don't really represent, I don't think, or people would say the same with narcos or whatever, I don't think narcos represent the whole country of Mexico, as having Mexican friends and stuff like that. My first thought of them is not oh, they're probably narcos or whatever. It's not, but it's crazy, it's just crazy. It's crazy to think that people go to those lengths of trying to prove their manhood by trying to kill somebody else for their manhood. I don't know. It's fucking dumb. But yeah, man, it was extremely sad. If I'm I pray to God that nobody died, and if they are, everybody's alive. Hopefully they make a recovery, and hopefully everything is well. But at this point, I have no idea. So it is what it is. So I'm just hope for the best. Expect the worst, hope for the dead. Ooh, expect the worst, hope for the best type thing, But let's move on from the sad stuff, and let's touch a little bit on the MLS, because this is going a little bit long. So we did about a whole 15 minutes on society. So, and I could actually talk a lot more, because I could talk just for that for an hour, just because society and the way people think and act, it's something that I love to talk about, and how corrupt we are as people, but it is what it is, we'll leave it as that, and let's just keep talking soccer, let's be happy, and let's go talk some MLS. So we had some games over the weekend, of course. And I just kind of want to talk about them. But before we go through there, I just want to also shout out, this guy. I forgot his first name, but I know his last name is Miranda. And, like I said, on the Vote League, he was wearing this shirt under his jersey. And I think it speaks very, a lot of people were wearing stuff like that. And I just think it's cool that even, on the level that we are, in our local leagues, we have a sense of that's a hard word. Camaraderie? No, I can't say it. Brotherhood. Let's just say that. We have a sense of brotherhood, with our fellow people that, maybe suffer. They shouldn't be suffering, but they suffer because of a bunch of fucking idiots. So shout out to homeboy over here for showing a message of true positivity. And it's crazy because whenever we talk with Seva, the creator of the Vote League, and we see the content of the character of the people that play in the league, we haven't found a single person that, has crossed that line of going to blows. And it's amazing because, we're on our season 3 of the Vote League. And we probably had hundreds of games. Well, not even hundreds, but at least 100 games, I would say, maybe somewhere around there. counting, league games, the World Cup, playoff games and stuff like that. And we have never seen a single fight. And it's crazy because, you would think that young guys in their 20s and late teens and 20s, they, and maybe some 30 guys, they'll have egos and there are egos, and there's a lot of talented players and there's a lot of players that, maybe are not great players, but they put the effort and they love for the sport, and maybe they make mistakes and they hit people by accident or maybe on purpose. Me myself, I got punched in the face 2 times. I have in one season I got 2 black eyes and a whole chest full of scars from a freaking plancha. But I've never seen blows. I've never seen fights. So, shout out to everybody in the Vote League, all the ones everybody that plays and everybody that helps out and everybody that's part of it. So, shout out to everybody there. But let's go ahead and move on. MLS was also here. Week 2, saw New England take on Dallas in Gillette Stadium, who, if I'm not mistaken, New England is actually playing right now. They're playing Pumas, if I'm not mistaken, in the snow. So shout out to them. Oh my god, I'm over here convulsing. And New England beat Dallas 1-0. Then you had New York Red Bulls beat Toronto 4-1. Kansas City, if you guys know about the the Dynamo Theory podcast, we talked about this. Kansas City beat the Houston Dynamo 1-0. The Philadelphia, I was going to say Eagles, but the Philadelphia Union beat Montreal 2-1. San Jose had a heck of a game with Columbus, literally coming back in the last few minutes and tying up the game that, Columbus was kind of, not easily beating, but, they were having a comfortable time beating Columbus, and then Columbus beating San Jose, and then San Jose came back and tied it up towards the end. Chicago and Orlando had a good fight. I watched a little bit of that game. Chicago got scored on towards the end, but it was brought back because of VAR. They didn't count it. I think somebody was upside, or it was a handball or something like that. Something happened, but it didn't count. Cincinnati, wooden spoon contenders, yet another year yet. Went down, or actually DC went down to Cincinnati to TQL Stadium. That's a tongue twister right there by itself. And DC beat Cincinnati. Then Colorado took care of Atlanta, beating them 3-0. And then we're going to go to the next one. Minnesota hosted Nashville in a 1-1 draw. Nashville, pretty good. For I don't know anything about that game. I didn't watch it or anything like that. But 1-1 draw for Nashville. Coming into this Western Conference, I think they're doing pretty well. Salt Lake beat Seattle. Everybody's like, what's going on in Seattle? 2 games in a row they lost to Nashville. Now they lost to Salt Lake. What's going on in Seattle? We don't know. But I think they're gonna bounce back. They're a good team overall. Vancouver received New York City in the BC Place. That was a 0-0 game. Charlotte with their home opener. I should have posted a picture. I should have had a picture of this, but I didn't. But Charlotte breaking the record of attendance in an MLS game, and probably in a sporting game this year, period. And probably close in a soccer match. I don't know, but it was close to 70,000 people. I think, I don't know. It was a lot, somewhere in the range of 65 to 75, which is a lot of people for a soccer match, especially an MLS soccer match, especially a Charlotte. No offense to Charlotte, but especially being a new team, you're like, whoa, how they're gonna come up with people, but. It seems like, but soccer is actually very, very big in the East Coast. But they received LA Galaxy and they got whooped 1-0. So, not whooped, but they got beat 1-0. But shout out to Charlotte and all the fans over there. And then Austin put a whooping again, another whooping to another team in their home. 5-1 against Miami. And then LAFC and the Portland Timbers 1-1. And Jimmy Chara, once again, showing everybody why he's still one of the top players in the MLS with another bicycle kick for 2 weeks in a row. And now I want to go ahead and go into what's coming up next, just in case you guys don't know what's coming up next. But Saturday, March 12th, New York City is receiving Montreal. Do they play Montreal or Vancouver? A ver. Who did Vancouver play? Yeah, Vancouver play New York City. Oh, I'm tripping. They're playing the other Canadian team. They're playing Montreal. So New York City is taking over. Are they actually going to play in Yankee Stadium? They haven't played in Yankee Stadium forever. But they're playing in Yankee Stadium here versus Montreal at noon. Columbus is going to be hosting Toronto. That should be a pretty good game. Miami is hosting LAFC. I don't think it's going to go well for Miami, but we'll see. Seattle is hosting LA Galaxy. That should be a good matchup because Seattle needs a win, and LA Galaxy, they're okay. They're doing okay. Chicharito, I think, it's saving their potatoes, as they would say in Spanish. Le está salvando las papas. Houston, looking for their first win in this season, are hosting Vancouver at PNC Stadium. DC United is hosting Chicago. That should be a good game as well. New England hosting Real Salt Lake, so there's going to be a East versus West matchup. And then Orlando is hosting Cincinnati, also on Saturday. And then Philadelphia is receiving San Jose. One of the guys from Dynamo Theory is actually going to be at that game, so shout out to him. I think it was Sack. Sack is going to be over there, so shout out to Sack. Dallas is going to play Nashville. I think Nashville is going to bring it against Dallas, so we'll see. Colorado is receiving Kansas City. That should be a good, right matchup. And then Portland will probably take care of Austin at Providence Park. This is going to be the first real test for Austin, I believe. Coming out of their home for the first game in the whole season, week 3. They had 2 home games to open up the season, and now they have to go to Portland, who, has been pretty consistent. So we'll see if Austin can, get another 5 goals, maybe this time away. So we'll see. And then Atlanta is going to be hosting Charlotte on Sunday at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And then New York City, to close off the night at 6 p.m. on a Sunday night, is going to take care of Minnesota. So that should be another, all right looking matchup. But I think what most people are looking for is probably going to be that Seattle game. Let me see here. Seattle, LA. And then probably the Portland, Austin, just because Austin is having a good season so far. So, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. With the little new camera. Let me see. Oh, there it is. New camera. How you doing? Camera 1 right here. Camera 2 right here. So we're going to get better as the days go by. Thank you guys for jumping on. If you were on the stream, if not, then it's all Gucci and the Hoochie. But it is what it is. I appreciate everybody coming in and showing some love. And hopefully you guys can stay tuned for another episode of QuattroQuattroDos. Don't forget, follow, if you want to follow social medias right here, Twitter and Facebook right here. If you want to follow the channel right here, QuattroQuattroDos on YouTube and the Twitch. And thank you guys. I appreciate, everything that you guys do for me. And we'll see you guys on the next time. Y'all have a good one.